Today, weak faith isn't a belief problem, it's a training problem. Welcome to Sacred Grit, a podcast equipping men to conquer addiction and overcome inner struggles through physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines so you can become a man of honor and integrity. I'm Jason.Lyle. Now let's get to work. Today you'll learn faith strengthens one decision at a time. Your nervous system can either sabotage or support your faith. And addiction ends through repeated, gritty decisions. This episode is brought to you by Capital City Roofing, capitalcityroofing.net. What's up, my dude? Welcome back to the Sacred Grit podcast and Gritty Wednesday. All right, why is my faith not strong enough to stop my addiction? Here's the thing, man. Weak faith isn't a belief problem, it's a training problem. And we talked about this a little bit on Sacred Sunday, and I kind of want to hit it again today because I want to kind of put some teeth around it today, okay? Because when we see our right decision based off self-love, from the work of self-love, we make more self-loving decisions. And faith is about loving ourselves enough to choose heaven. And seeing heaven takes daily disciplines, all right? So don't worry, I'm about to unpack that. Here we go. So we talked on Sunday about making these loving decisions back toward ourselves. Now, but I really feel like the only way we can make those loving decisions back toward ourselves is having access to pure love a lot, and just sitting with that a lot. So think about this with me for a minute, because I don't believe in any part of me that God is some sort of an ethnicity or a gender or a language or a book or a religious system. I believe all those things are expressions of who God is in some ways, but I believe that God, in God's pure essence, is love and truth. And so what that means, that God, it lives inside of something I feel, not necessarily something that I can know in the way that you and I have always assumed knowing. Like, I can know that 1 + 1 = 2. I can know that, if I touch a hot stove, it's going to burn my finger. Those things are things that I know rationally, but God goes beyond rationale. God goes into a place, if you even think about the stories of Jesus, the miraculous healings and the virgin birth and all these stories that we read about in the Bible, these are stories of going beyond logic. They go past physical logic and they go into this other place. And that is what I'm trying to get you to access, because here's the thing: to make those loving decisions, we need to access love, and the love is in your nervous system. Now, I've come to believe that not from some sort of scientific understanding, but I've come to believe that by doing the work myself. When I regulate my autonomic nervous system, and we all know our nervous system in general is what animates your body. It is the energy in your body. It runs up and down your spinal column. It animates your feet. It animates your actions. It does everything. And here's what I believe about this. And I go back to this again, but I'm going to hit it again. Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Now, your heart, in Jesus' understanding of the world at the time, cardia is the word where we get cardiovascular. It was the center of where your thoughts begin. So love your God with the center of where your thoughts begin. Your soul, Jesus would have meant the animating energy that moves you, right? The God inside of you. So love the Lord your God with all your heart. Love the Lord your God with all your God self, the originating place of your thoughts, and then your God self. Love the Lord your God with all your mind. Jesus understood this is where the last place it goes before it makes a decision, right? Because that's what happens in your mind. And then your strength, your actions. So this is a progression when Jesus says this. The way that we love starts with our thoughts' origination, moves into our God self, into our mind where we make a decision, and out of our strength into our hands. So your nervous system, when you have it regulated, you have your brain and your body connection working in conjunction with one another. Now, all of a sudden, you have access to your rational thought. You have access to your heart, soul, your mind, and your strength. So your nervous system can either sabotage or support your faith, because a dysregulated nervous system does not have access to rational thought. A regulated nervous system has access to a rational thought. So you get your body speaking to your brain and your brain speaking to your body. If you've ever had, you know how this feels, dude. If you've ever had an action where you said, I just do this thing and I don't want to do it, but I turn around and I find myself doing it. Maybe it's picking up your phone and doom scrolling. Maybe it's clicking on the wrong website or grabbing the cigarette or drinking the beer, whatever it might be. 900 things. We always talk about this, but that is your nervous system hijacking your body. Right? Your nervous system has learned how to calm itself through an action that doesn't make rational sense. But when I am able to take my prefrontal cortex, my rational brain, and connect it to my body, now I have my brain and my body speaking to each other. My body is sending information to my rational thought. My rational thought is sending information to my body. And that is where the Holy Spirit of God meets us in discipline. Because now I have my heart, soul, mind, and strength all working together, all connected. This is where nervous system regulation lets us access the kingdom of heaven, because addiction, right, whatever that is, will end through your repeated gritty decisions. If you choose over and over and over to make the right decision, those decisions start to compound on top of one another, as we talked about on Sacred Sunday, and we find ourselves able to find this unbelievable faith that ends our addiction. So here's what I want to challenge you with, right? You're going to start trying, or you've been trying, if you listen to Sacred Sunday for the last few days, you've been trying to make these loving decisions toward yourself. So we know that faith strengthens one decision at a time, but I want you to work on resetting your nervous system. Here's how I want you to do that. I want you to get into the cold water in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, you might say, Jason, I'm not going to do that. Okay, hear me out. You could start with an ice pack on your chest. You could start with 15 seconds of a cold shower. You could try a cold plunge. You could try 2 minutes of a cold shower. But all I want you to do is I want you to somehow access the triggering of your amygdala, your lower brain, your autonomic nervous system that tells you get out of this cold water. And I want you to sit with that nervous system screaming at you long enough to bring your prefrontal cortex online to where you can access the thought, I'm okay. I am not in danger. I am not going to die. It's just cold water. I want you to set a timer, because you can tell yourself, I only have X amount of time to be here. And what you're going to find is when you get that prefrontal cortex, that rational thought, talking to that irrational autonomic nervous system, and you start to know what it feels like to be triggered, but sit with it anyway until you can make a rational decision, you will gain control over your impulses. But my friend, it's not a magic pill. There are no magic pills. I hope you know that. This is not a once and done thing. This is about you do it over and over and over, because addiction ends through repeated gritty decisions. Addiction ends by doing the hard things over and over, because this is how you gain control of your life. This is how you access your spiritual life. This is how you strengthen your faith, and this is how you end your addictive behaviors. So today you learned faith strengthens one decision at a time. Your nervous system can either sabotage or support your faith, and addiction ends through repeated, gritty decisions. My dude, thank you for listening, man. It means a ton to me. You can scroll down in the show notes, book that consultation call. We will get you a plan together. I can help you personalize a plan to get wherever it is that you want to go. That is free. I mean, you don't have to pay me a dime for the consultation, and we'll spend however long you need to spend on a call. Wherever you are in the world, I can help you with that, and you can take off and fly. If you want to book something beyond that, I would love to coach you and help you work through the process. But man, the most important thing is to just get you the information so that you can start to heal. All right. This episode is brought to you by Oak Haven Diagnostics. My good friend Jody Morgan, he and his wife Jenny, they run Oak Haven Diagnostics, where they do pregnancy testing for cattle. I want to say they do sheep as well. You can check out their services at oakhavendiagnostics.com, and you can hire them to help you with your herd management. All right, my dude, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on Sacred Sunday. Stay ready.